Good morning. Happy Vlogmas day 13. Like this is there. The dog. I don't know if I can get it there. There. She's in jail. She's being really annoying. So she's in jail for a little bit until she calms down. So I finished one mitten. I still haven't shown you the fingerless mitts. I keep forgetting. I'll try to remember to do that this afternoon. So, now my nephew's hands are probably a little smaller than mine, but these almost fit me, so they should fit him fine. I'm a little worried I made the thumb too short, but I think they're okay. Can you hear the dog? Oh my God. Puppies. Our next dog's gonna be an adult dog. So I like how the yarn marled is what I'm trying to say. So now I just started the other one. I wanted to get it cast on before I went and watched some TV last night, just so I had a good start on it this morning. So I got that much done. See there. So I'm gonna work on finishing this today. And I also have a long list of like house stuff I have to get done, like laundry, and I have to clean up the spare room, which has just become a catch-all with Christmas presents. I have to get one of the scarves blocked and put on the blocking wires. I have to get groceries. I have an Etsy package or an Etsy order that came in, so I'll get that packaged up. I'll try the post office tomorrow when it opens, I think, like I did the last time, and see if I can get there without a huge lineup. So I'm going to get myself another cup of coffee. I'm going to see if the dog is going to behave. I'm going to do some knitting on this and try to get the cuff done before I do anything else today. And then I was going to put the bulbs in the garden, but it's raining. So it's soaking wet out there. I think it's stopped raining. It's kind of hit the misty stage, but everything's soaking wet. And I'm like, I don't want to be kneeling in the ground and that. So yeah, so it's going to be a busy Sunday. And I'm feeling really lazy and I don't want to do any of it. I just want to sit here and knit. I want to look through my Lina magazine. So yeah, maybe I'll get my second cup of coffee. I'll look through the Lina magazine, then I'll start this and watch some Vlogmas. I think that's what I'll do. All right, I'll check in with you guys later. answer some of the questions that were on the list of questions for the 500 plus giveaway, which we're over 600 right now, so I have to think about that. And one of the questions was about my writing. So maybe the best way to do this. So I started writing when I was grade 2. I've been making up stories pretty much my whole life. But grade 2, I realized I didn't just want to be a farmer, because that was my first choice. I wanted to be a farmer who wrote books. So I didn't get to be a farmer, which is very sad. And someday I still hope to have a hobby farm. But I did write. So the books that I have, I've published books with Harlequin Historical, and I've also self-published, because to be perfectly honest, there's way more money in self-publishing, because when you publish traditionally, which is like with a publisher, like, I don't know, Random House or whatever, you get 6 to 8% of the royalties from somebody buying the book. When you do it self-publishing, you keep 70% of the royalty. So I could sell, even if I sell a lot less books from self-publishing than I would traditionally published, I still make way more money. So when you kind of look at it that way, plus self-publishing, you have control over your deadlines, what the cover looks like, title of the book. Like, a lot of people don't realize we don't get to title our books. Like, we'll have the working title that we gave it, and then the marketing department will change it to something else. In fact, the only book that kept its title was the first book I published with Carina Press, which was The Outlaw Bride. That was what I titled it, and they kept it. I did not get to pick the cover. I would have picked something different. The other books, I have my glasses on. So the other books that I published with Harlequin is so I have so this one I titled Salvation Falls, because that was the town that it took place in. And of course they changed it to Salvation in the Rancher's Arms. So at least they kept the salvation in there. I actually love this book. And I you know what? I love all the books I wrote. There's one I'm not especially, it's probably my least favorite, but I wrote it under deadline with Harlequin the same time I was writing one of my own books. So it was, I think my brain was kind of more in the book I was writing for self-publishing. Anyway, then this was sort of a spin-off, I guess, from the Salvation Falls, and this took place in the same town. So this was Salvation in the Sheriff's Kiss. Titles. Not the titles I'd pick. Then this was the first, this was like a, they do like a Christmas edition, and they have several of their authors put in almost like a novella length. So this one also took place in Salvation Falls for me, and it was actually, I think it was actually called The Cowboy of Christmas Past. I love that story. I really love that story. So that was from, oh God, when was that? Oh wow, 2015. God, that was a long time ago. And then this one came out, I think, the year afterwards, Western Christmas Proposals, and mine was called Christmas in Salvation Falls. So I had them all kind of taking part in that town. And then the ones, so these ones are the ones that I self-published, and they take place, I'm turn you back this way. They all take place in, I think they start in 1821, if I remember. So the first one was an invitation. You can see I've got my little doohickey on here so that I know that these are my copies. This was an invitation to scandal. So each of them will have kind of either, they're called Sins and Scandals. Oh my God, my mind just went blank. Series. So all the titles will have like scandal or sin in it somewhere. So this one was an invitation to scandal. And then book 2 was a scandalous passion. And then book 3 was a sinful temptation. This book and I would say these two were probably my favorite. The character in this one, I love. So this was book 3, and it was originally intended to be like a 3-book series. But then I introduced characters within these books, and I was like, I wonder what their story is. So that ended up with the Lady's Sinful Secret, which was actually the mother of one of the characters. I wanted to tell her story because it sort of brought part of this original book story full circle from a secondary character point of view. So that was just a novella, and that was a lot of fun to write. And then the character in the heroine in the first book had an older brother, and I was like, I wonder what's going to happen with him. So he got surrendered to scandal. And in this book, I introduced this kind of shady character who I loved so much. He got his own book, so that was A Sinner No More. And then in this book, there was a secondary character again, and I was like, she was fun. So she got a Christmas novella, so that was Most Scandalous Christmas. And then in that book, there was, in this book, wait now, which book was it? I think it was this book. There was a character mentioned, and then she got her own story, and the hero in this, and one of the secondary characters mentioned kind of throughout the series, got their own. So now in this book, there's a set of twins that kind of show up throughout the series, and in this book was the one of the twins there. And so I haven't written her sister's story yet. I have tried, and it was just being a real pain in the ass to write. It just was not, the story just wasn't working. So I set it aside. I do think I will go back to it and finish it off because I feel like the series is unfinished. I feel like there's like this languishing story that hasn't been told yet. So the dog's downstairs barking. I think she's driving my husband up the wall. So anyways, I should probably go give him a break. So that's kind of what I've written so far. I also have a few. I think anybody that writes knows you usually have about 10 unfinished stories that you've started, and when you've been working on something else that you've had to set aside because you had the original work you had to finish. So my plan in the new year is to go back to some of them and see if I want to tell one of those stories, or do I want to tell something completely different. And I have a feeling I want to write something completely different. I have been writing historical romance, either Western historical or kind of Regency, just post-Regency historical, for 10 years now, and I really feel like I want to try something different. So we'll see what the new year brings. So I did end up burning out. I burned out about the same time I started the podcast. Because I was putting out about 3, 1 year it was 4 books a year, which is a heavy schedule. I was writing 7 days a week. I was working the day job 5 days a week. And it just got to be, I just got to be burned out, and I just needed a break. So I stopped writing for about a year, and which was really hard because I've written since grade 2. So, but I thought I need to give myself that mental break, or my concern was that I wouldn't be able to write again. So that's when I started picking up my knitting again, because I realized I needed a creative outlet, but I didn't realize that until after I'd picked up the knitting again, and then started the podcast, and then started the hand dyeing yarn. I was like, oh, this is my new creative outlet. So now I have to figure out a way to blend the two and still and have the time to do that, because I don't want to give up either one of them. So how did I start writing? I'll probably leave, well, actually it's a short story. I started writing when my grade 2 teacher, Phyllis Matheson, came in to our class one day, and she had this box, and each card in the box had a plot on it. And I had always made up stories in my head. I had started reading, I learned I could read by the time, it was before I was 4, so sometime during my 3rd year, I had learned how to read thanks to Sesame Street. And then I just kind of built on what I knew there. So by the time I had started primary, I was reading at like a high school level. So I was always reading. I was a voracious reader. You could not keep me out of the library. So when in grade 2, we had this box of plot arrive near the end of the school year, which is unfortunate because I tried to fail grade 2 so I could go back and write all of the stories. It didn't go over real well with my parents. So once I read my plot was you find a genie in a bottle. And I had the genie, I had 2 wishes, and I abolished liver because I hate it. And then I felt really bad because my mom and my brother loved it. So my second wish was to bring it back. It's a short story. But that's actually where I realized that I could take the stories in my head and put them down on paper. And after that, it was just like gangbusters. That was my thing. I wrote stories. And that just kind of evolved into writing books. So that is about all she wrote. So I may actually cap this off early because I still have a boatload of work to get done. And I have not done hardly any of it, and it's about 2:30 already, and I still have to finish that mitten, which I've only got that much of the cuff done. So I think I'm going to go put a little time in that for about an hour. Then I got to make supper. I got to finish the laundry. There's some things that are just not getting done on that list. I'll try to pick away at them through the week, and anything left over will get done while I'm on vacation. So I will, I'm going to cap this here so I have time to kind of edit and upload it, and I will see you guys tomorrow. So happy Vlogmas Day 13. See you later.